My name is Marilyn. I am 28 years old. I come from a very poor family. I work as a maid in a big house 4 days a week. On the other days, I work in a small gift shop. The big house belongs to Mrs. Irving. She is 57 years old. She has no husband. She lives alone. I clean her house, wash the dishes, and cook dinner. I like her house. It is big and bright. Mrs. Irving has one son. His name is Philip. He is 31 years old, but does not have a job. Philip lives with some friends in another part of the city. Sometimes he comes to visit his mother. He comes early in the morning. Philip sits on the sofa and watches television. When the weather is good, he sits on the terrace and drinks beer. Philip is quiet and does not talk much. He only says hello and nothing more. He drinks many bottles of beer. I always carry the empty bottles to the basement. The basement is dark and cold. I do not like going there, but it is my job. Mrs. Irving works at a factory. She leaves early and comes home late. Sometimes she calls me while I'm cleaning and asks, "Marilyn, is Philip at home? Is everything fine?" And I always answer, "Yes, Mrs. Irving, everything is fine." Most of the time that is true. I respect Mrs. Irving. She is always tired, but she never complains. She pays me on time. I feel lucky to have this job. In Canada, I worked at a small bakery. Life was not easy. After my divorce, I came here to earn money. I send money to my son every month. He lives with my mother back home. He is only 5 years old. I miss him every day. One morning, Philip came into the kitchen while I was cleaning. He looked serious. "Marilyn, I need your help," he said. I stopped and looked at him. I said, "What do you need, Philip?" He said, "I am going on a trip for a few weeks, but please don't tell my mother. She will worry too much. Just tell her I'm still here." I was surprised. I said, "You want me to say you are at home?" Philip nodded. He said, "Yes. Just tell her everything is okay. She always calls you. Please, Marilyn." He looked tired. There was something weak in his eyes. I felt sorry for him. I did not want problems, but I said, "Okay, no problem." Philip gave a small smile and thanked me. The next morning, I saw him leaving the house with a small bag. After that, he did not return. Days became quiet. No television, no beer bottles on the terrace. I continued working as usual. Every evening, Mrs. Irving called and said, "Marilyn, is Philip at home?" I said, "Yes, Mrs. Irving. Everything is fine." It was a small lie I told myself, a harmless one. I didn't want her to worry. 2 weeks later, Mrs. Irving came home early. I felt a shock seeing her. She never came early. She said, "Marilyn, I came home to see Philip. Is he here?" I froze for a second. I said, "He went out this morning. Maybe he will come back soon." She sat down, tired and worried. She said, "He never answers my calls. I don't know what's wrong. I just want him to find a job. I can't take care of him forever." I felt bad for Mrs. Irving. I said, "He will be fine, madam. Maybe he just needs time." She gave me a small, sad smile. Later, when I finished work, I went to the basement. When I switched on the light, I noticed something strange. Some beer cases were open. A few bottles were missing. There were broken pieces of glass on the floor. Philip was gone, but someone had been here. My heart beat fast. I cleaned the mess and said nothing. Days passed. Mrs. Irving left food for Philip on the table every night, but every morning the plate was still full. She never knew. One morning, I came to the house and found the back door was open. I checked the basement. More bottles were missing. That day, Mrs. Irving called as usual. She said, "Marilyn, is everything okay? Is Philip at home?" I wanted to tell her the truth, but I couldn't. I said, "Yes, Mrs. Irving, he is here." But after the call, my hands were shaking. Later that week, I saw a tall man near the back gate. He wore a dark jacket. I couldn't see his face. When I looked at him, he walked away quickly. I felt scared. I locked the door. I wanted to tell Mrs. Irving the truth, but I didn't want to break her heart. A few days later, Philip sent a strange message from an unknown number. "Don't worry, Mother. I'm okay." That was all. Mrs. Irving showed it to me. She looked pale. She asked, "Do you think something happened to him?" I said, "Madam, maybe he just changed his number. He will come back soon." She nodded, but she didn't look convinced. The next morning, when I arrived, the front door was open. The sofa was moved. The drawers in the kitchen were open. Someone had searched through the house. I called Mrs. Irving immediately. She rushed home. We checked the basement together. Many cases of beer were gone. The floor was wet again. Mrs. Irving looked at me carefully. She said, "Marilyn, did you see anyone?" I said, "No, only a man near the gate once." She said, "Maybe Philip." "Ah!" Mrs. Irving cried that night. I could not sleep either. The next morning, I called her and told her the truth, everything. Mrs. Irving said, "I will come home, Marilyn." That evening, we went to the basement. The blanket was gone, but the clothes were still there. She said, "He was here. My son was hiding here." That night, she sat in the living room waiting for him, but he didn't come. The next day, she told me not to come, but I felt worried, so I went anyway. The gate was half open. Inside, I heard voices. I walked in. Philip was sitting there, dirty, thin, tired. Mrs. Irving was crying. Philip said, "Mother, I'm sorry. I had no money, no place to stay. I was sleeping in the basement. I didn't want you to see me like this." Mrs. Irving said, "You should have told me. You are my son." Philip looked ashamed. He turned to me. He said, "Thank you, Marilyn, for helping me. I just needed time." I felt tears in my eyes. Mrs. Irving asked me to stay for dinner that night. It was quiet but warm. Weeks passed. Philip began to change. He helped in the house. He cleaned the garden. Mrs. Irving smiled more often now. One day Philip came to me and said, "Marilyn, thank you for not giving up on me. I want to be better." Months passed. Philip found a small job at a supermarket. It wasn't much, but it was a start. Mrs. Irving baked on weekends again. Sometimes she gave me cake for my son. she said, for the boy who's waiting for his mother. If you liked this story, please like, comment, share, and subscribe.